All right, so Ben Shapiro, he does appear on Fox News a lot. Here's something interesting that I wanted to mention really quick, actually, is that something that Fox News did pretty damn well as a business model is after the ousting of all the geezers there, like O'Reilly and all the other old creepy guys, they actually did a really, like, strictly from a business standpoint, obviously, these people are there hiring are idiots, but they have done a really good job bouncing back from that, because now essentially went from Fox News being O'Reilly and all the other geezers there with Ailes and stuff, and now what they do is they have Tucker Carlson, basically who's the face of Fox News, Laura Ingraham, and they have Sean Hannity flipped to basically being a Trump apologist, the best way to put it, and they now bring on Ben Shapiro, Tommy Lahren. I think they bring on Candace Owens sometimes too. They are smart because what they did is basically they took the people who are popular in new media and brought them into Fox News, and either their contributors who are frequently on there, like Shapiro and Tommy. I think Tommy Lahren's on like every week, and I think Ben Shapiro's on like all the goddamn time, like probably more than once a week. So they did a smart move business wise. Now, again, I want to repeat, obviously these guys are morons, but they did a smart business move, and it's hard to miss that cue because they were able to bounce back so damn well. But what we're going to be looking at here is Ben Shapiro went on Fox News. So I thought we'd look at this video and talk about some of the stuff that he said. Now, he's going to be asked a bunch of different questions about a bunch of different stuff, ranging from midterms to some different stuff as well with Trump and Hillary, and we are going to talk about this.
Only 22 more days till the midterm elections, and fears of a 2016 repeat are creeping in for Democrats to some extent. While Democratic enthusiasm remains high, the party leads in the generic congressional ballot. I think about 7% is the average number of the lead for Democrats right now. But a recent report from McClatchy cautions nervous Democrats ask, could Election Day disaster strike again? Here now, Ben Shapiro, editor-in-chief of thedailywire.com, just finished 4 weeks of election specials on Fox News. Ben, good to see you as always. Thanks for being here tonight. You've been looking at this very closely over the past few weeks. Do you think that their fears are justified?
Well, I mean, certainly there's a reason to be afraid. There are some polls that came out in battleground districts showing that Republicans were running basically even with Democrats in an enormous number of battleground districts. Those, of course, would be the districts that were very competitive between President Trump and Hillary Clinton. The map looks to me as though the red areas are getting redder and the blue areas are getting bluer and the purple areas are getting more purple. So what that suggests is that this is not going to be a walk in the park for Democrats the way that Democrats thought it was going to be even a few weeks ago. And I'm not sure that leading into a heavily contested midterm election, you want your going away message to be, we don't like due process with Justice Kavanaugh, and also we're not really sort of Native American with Elizabeth Warren. Those don't seem like two great takeaway messages.
You know, it's also interesting to me that they are very fired up about the Electoral College and about the fact that every state gets to send 2 senators to the United States Senate. And that tells me that they're worried that, as they look forward in history, it doesn't look good for them, the composition of the country.
Well, certainly not in the Senate and also in the Electoral College, because, again, states are slightly outweighing population centers in the Electoral College. Democrats, it was very funny. After 2016, we kept hearing over and over from Democrats who thought Hillary was going to win that President Trump needed to accept the results of the election. So far, we have heard from Democrats since 2016 that we should change the constituency of the Senate, abolish the Supreme Court, abolish the Electoral College, and abolish ICE. So I get the feeling that acceptance isn't in the cards anytime soon here.
All right. Well, Hillary Clinton is obviously spending a lot of time back in the limelight again, which is raising questions about whether or not she's potentially even considering running again. There was one op-ed that was arguing that she might, that 3 times might be the charm for Hillary Clinton. She also, is getting probably more attention than some Democrats would like at this juncture in the election with comments like this. Let's watch this.
In retrospect, do you think Bill should have resigned in the wake of the Monica Lewinsky scandal?
Absolutely not.
It wasn't an abuse of power?
No. No.
There are people who look at the incidents of the 90s and they say a president of the United States cannot have a consensual relationship with an intern. The power imbalance is too
Who was
great.
an adult.
She was an adult. She didn't seem to like that line of questioning, and I can't say I really blame her. It's pretty uncomfortable. She was an adult, is her argument for the pre-Me Too experience of Bill Clinton.
Well, I definitely am enjoying watching the goalposts move at light speed around the field, thanks to Democrats deciding that consent does have power relationships attached, or it doesn't have power relationships attached. Perjury is sometimes good, sometimes fibbing about sex is bad. It seems to depend on the day, and mostly it depends on whom they are defending. So Hillary Clinton making life a nightmare once again for her Democratic colleagues who must be wishing at this point that they could somehow wish her into the cornfield.
All right. I do want to get your thought on this because it just broke tonight. This is Michael Avenatti will now have to pay President Donald Trump's legal fees for the Stormy Daniels case, which just fell apart. Here's the quote from President Trump's attorney on this. He says, "No amount of spin or commentary by Stormy Daniels or her lawyer, Mr. Avenatti, can truthfully characterize today's ruling in any way other than total victory for President Trump and total defeat for Stormy Daniels." Rough couple of weeks for Michael Avenatti, Ben.
Well, Michael Avenatti, who was my entertaining frontrunner for 2020, I was really looking forward to Michael Avenatti making a play in the Democratic primaries. I have to say that at this point, Michael Avenatti is as much of a good lawyer as Elizabeth Warren is a Native American.
I mean, he was campaigning as early as this weekend in South Carolina. It will be interesting to see. And, you know, you did call for it, I think, on this show when he first got on the scene, saying that you really hoped he would run for president, Ben.
I did, and I still do, because this is highly, highly entertaining stuff. But again, he has won 1,024th of a decent lawyer, because this was not a good case to bring in the first place. And now he's been humiliated a couple of times in 3 weeks.
20 seconds, but do you think that the Harvard case will overturn affirmative action?
You know, I would like to see it do so. But again, Harvard is a private institution, not a public institution. At the very least, Harvard is wildly hypocritical for talking about diversity while banning essentially Asian students.
Ben Shapiro, always a pleasure. Great to see you, Ben. Thanks a lot.
All right, so on the midterms, I think that Ben actually might be onto something in that it's not going to be a cakewalk for Democrats. And anytime there's an election, it's a moronic thing to do to picture a walk-in, a shoe-in, because what that does is you're essentially de-energizing your own base, which is probably the dumbest possible thing that you could do. No exaggerations at all. Probably the dumbest possible thing you could do, because you're talking about you're trying to get an election rolling and, you know, obviously electing people that you want. And what you're telling people is, oh, we got this. And that ends up losing energy. So no, make sure you're registered to vote. I think there's a lot of deadlines already hit, but I think in California you can still register. So make sure you're registered to vote. Go out to vote Democrat, of course. So I think he's onto something there. I think that the Democrats, most likely, I think they 100% take the House back. The Senate, I doubt they'll take back, because they've got 26 seats to pick up. Now, something interesting they brought up with the denial thing. So nobody wants to abolish the Supreme Court. I know that he likes to strawman a lot. And I think he also said, like, population centers slightly outweigh the Electoral College. Are you kidding me? Like, why are you lowballing the population difference? That's insane. In California, your vote basically means nothing. But if you're in Florida, your vote is basically gold. You could essentially convert your vote into gold and be freaking rich. And so he talks about abolishing the Electoral College. We should. The talks of abolishing the Electoral College have existed since 2000. And here's an interesting part. Do you guys remember the Trump tweet that was sent out? It was predicted that Romney was going to have won the popular vote. There was, like, during the counting, but that turned out to be wrong. And Trump sent out a tweet saying, oh, man, it looks like Mitt Romney's going to win the popular vote, but not the Electoral College. And he called for it being abolished. Like, to pretend that the Electoral College is a issue that is not, both parties would be against it based on whoever it discriminates against, is laughable. And the example I'm giving you right now is Donald Trump, when it was perceived that Mitt Romney had won the popular vote, despite that not being what happened. What I'm trying to explain is, if the Republicans were on the other side of the issue where they were losing because of the Electoral College, you damn well know they're going to be calling for the Electoral College to be abolished. That's what they're going to do. And they bring up the Senate. I don't think many people actually want to abolish the Senate, although some people do say that. And, you know, it's because, like, a state like Rhode Island, which is literally like the size of Ben's has the same amount of senators as California, which is 30. It's bigger. It has more people than Canada. So it's like, are they onto something? I don't know. Am I for abolishing the Senate? Not, especially not as of right now. But I don't know how you'd really transfer the powers of the Senate. But anyways, that's not something that's a mainstream position of the Democrats in the first place. And I want to make this all to summarize what I just said. But there's no denial going on. There's okay, we accept the result. Now we want to change the system because the system is fundamentally stupid. That's essentially what it is. And they go on to talk about Hillary Clinton. This is actually a second thing I agree on that he said, because I agree that I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk for the Democrats, and I think it's going to be a stupid idea to think that way anyways. But I do think that Hillary Clinton needs to shut up. Like, just stop. Every time I see a Hillary Clinton story, I cringe so hard because of exactly what you just saw. Ben Shapiro was laughing so hard. And you know why? It's because that's totally the right reaction. Hillary Clinton is a joke who is not helping the Democratic Party by any stretch of the imagination. She's literally doing the opposite. She is destroying the Democratic Party single-handedly by making stupid statements like she said, where she said she's an adult. Like, so what? So there's no power imbalance between a president and an aide and whatever she was, like like there's what? Because she was an adult. So that what? There's never power imbalance. It's never inappropriate for a boss and someone who's a lower rank in the workplace to do that, because they're both adults. Then that means that they essentially don't exist, which essentially means that power abuses don't exist, which is embarrassingly stupid. And so we look bad because this moron can't stay in the woods and just be quiet and leave us alone and stop destroying the Democratic Party inch by inch, centimeter by centimeter. Like, it's insane. Please, Hillary, stop it. And look at how much damn makeup is on your face. Looks like you just took a freaking cake and just slammed that shit right in your face. Like, just stop. Just stop it. There's no need to go through your 12-hour practices for these stupid interviews that you end up botching anyways. Just stop. You suck. You're horrible for the Democratic Party. You're horrible for the movement. And yet you continue. You are relentless in your idea that you're entitled to things. Like, you lost twice. The second one in the worst fashion pretty much in all of history. And oh my God, it angers me that she's so reluctant to just stop, despite the damage she is incurring upon the Democratic Party. And Ben Shapiro's right on that.